Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tesla Life 135 for what is it, the 12th of February. Man, I don't, just time's a flying. Time is a flying. We've got, of course, tons of news to speak about this week as normal. And let's go to our panelists. Today, we've got Mr. Casey Green joining us from the DC area. How are you today, sir?
Pretty well. We did our first V3 Superchargers this weekend.
That's right. I saw your video. You were out, made the big travel to get to the V3 to try it out.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
And it is brisk.
Yes, it is.
I don't think that you can like leave the car and go do stuff and come back and expect to not have the idling charges.
You got to be quick now, for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. Also joining us, Mr. Patrick Connor from the Oregon State area. How are you today, sir?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Excellent. Excellent. And how's the weather out in your neck of the woods there, Patrick?
It's actually a nice sunny day today, and we went skiing again in a Tesla this weekend. It was beautiful. No wind, blue skies. It was awesome.
Wow. Nice.
I was going to ask if that was sun or light.
Yeah, it's
got the sunshine. Yeah, no gloom today in
yeah.
Portland. None at all. Well, let's get right to it. First story of the week comes from some safety improvements at Fremont. This was reported in Teslarati, and this is not a surprise to any of us, I would believe. This is, I would say, more along the lines of over time, as you get used to the processes, as you get used to the manufacturing of certain lines, that things get smoother in a factory, and the people know their positions better. They know what they're doing. The training gets a little bit better because there's less running around. They know what everyone's job is, and that attributes to a safer workplace, allowing people to know what they're doing at any point and get some familiarity with their jobs and their functions. And of course, when the Model 3 rolled out and we heard some rumblings about there being some safety issues or problems those were all growing pains that Tesla was going through and just manufacturing a car and mass manufacturing a car. And those type of stories certainly, we don't know exactly if all of them were true, but there were some discussions about people having issue with some injuries. And of course, this recent story just talks about how things have improved greatly since then. So really not a big surprise over time once these lines get set and the car is built and thousands and now hundreds of thousands of these vehicles have been made. It just makes sense that things calm down in that department.
Yep, absolutely.
So not a huge surprise. But
and none of this is related to the investigations that were thrust upon them a couple years ago that were nuisance complaints, let's call them.
I don't believe they're anything to do with the nuisance complaints, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So next story, this was kind of interesting. Of course, Elon communicates to everybody via Twitter. And recently at the beginning of the week, he put out a poll with the question, Giga Texas, and then he put a hell yeah and a nope as responses that you could pick from. He also changed his location to Austin and sent this out. And of course, the wild speculation begins. What on earth is he talking about? Is Elon thinking about putting a gigafactory in Texas? And I got to believe, yeah, he's definitely thinking about it because he typically doesn't fool around with these type of things. Like when Elon typically tweets, even when it's something kind of we feel ridiculous at the time, like maybe Tesla Kila or possibly Tesla Candy, some of this stuff really comes through in the end. There seems to be a plan to all this madness, and this definitely could be one of them. Certainly, Tesla is looking at improving its manufacturing capabilities, and with its new products coming online, such as the Cybertruck and other pieces, there could definitely be an opening where they're looking to push some of this production to someplace else. And Texas may definitely be on the map, especially for a pickup truck, because I believe 1 in every 6 vehicles sold in Texas is a pickup truck. So it's a very pickup truck intense market. And what better way could you kind of twist a state that hasn't been dealing with you too well by offering them jobs, and lots of them? So again, speculation, but it's something that certainly is on the minds of many Texans. In fact, a follow-up to this story was, I believe, a mayor went online and sent Elon a post saying, let's talk, let's speak, let's get together in a meeting. So yeah, it's certainly within the realm of possibilities. What do you guys think?
I think
it is. Go ahead, Casey.
That trying to entice Texas, you should really line it up with the 2-year that their legislators are actually there. Every time it's spurned them in the past, so maybe this time's a charm, or maybe Texas gets more good business from them for nothing.
Yeah,
right. Texas was in the running for Gigafactory 1 back then.
They were.
Yeah, and definitely dangling that carrot in front of them is something that they've got to be aware of. They have to know that if we want to have an in with Texas legislatures, this is definitely a way to do it. After Texas not winning the first Gigafactory bid, and then watching the company grow like gangbusters, I am sure that Texas legislatures really would like another kick at the can here.
Yeah, so, there's a lot of good talent there too.
So it'd be a shame if we take this factory away?
Yeah.
That would work.
Yeah.
It's if you put it in after they do nothing.
Well, I gotta believe they're gonna dangle it. I cannot believe that Tesla would go in and build a factory without some guarantees about some reversals on whether or not they could sell the truck in the state or sell any vehicle in the state. If they could have dealerships, if they could have service. I'm sure that's all going to be something that will definitely be on the short list of what has to be some predetermined conditions. In fact, I would have it that, once the announcement's made, that you have to do it at that point.
Yeah.
Even if the factory is to be built a year or further in the future, man, I'd be pushing for, guess what? Sales and service starts tomorrow.
There you go.
Yeah, that'll be really nice for all the Tesla owners that are already there.
Exactly, because service right now is insane over there. You got to call California or do the mobile app, whatever. Basically, you're setting an appointment with California. California's then going back to the customer, or to the provider, which is the service. And then all interaction happens between California and Texas and not the customer and the company, which is insane. It
is. Yeah, if they do it, I'd really hope they put it in Austin, because Austin is the weird little corner of Texas. It's in a lot of ways Portland's sister city. So keep Austin weird, keep Portland weird, and yeah, that's a great spot for it.
And it's a college town, and also there's some connection to Tesla currently. Is there not something in Texas already, or am I mistaken?
They've got a gallery at least, and I think a service center.
I thought there was something to do with some development, but I could be wrong.
I thought some of their AI chip folks were already in that area.
Yeah, so that would be quite a win for Texas if they could push that along to get that sales and service started in a state that is very large, has a large population, and another bonus, of course, will be the pickup end of things, which they would love to push that along as well.
Yeah, and if you want to deliver from there, it's instead of going west coast to east coast, you go from the middle out. So.
Yep.
Welcome version.
Faster deliveries.
Silicon Valley reference. Yeah.
Well, Well, Casey's got our next story about that Connecticut Police Department.
Yes. So the Connecticut Police Department says that they are not the state, but the town that bought a couple of the. This is the standard Rangers or the performance ones.
This would be the standard range.
Okay.
No, it's a performance.
Okay.
It's the other state was standard. Yeah, this is performance.
So they were looking to use the touchscreen to reduce the need for the tablet PCs in their car because they could do everything from the screen in the car. But what they did do in the meantime is they claim that they have been able to use regular old Tesla Cam and Tesla SentryMode to replace some of the purchases they would have had to make in monitoring cameras and sometimes you'll see it like when they've done the traffic stops and the cameras is rolling. This is the same deal, and they say the quality is higher, and since it was already built into the car for free, it didn't cost them anything extra. So they save thousands of dollars per car, and you've got multiple angles. So that's a step up from what you were looking at with a lot of the police installations. And if they ever turn on the pillar cameras, then they've got a surround view, which is even cooler. Yeah. But
yeah, so it's like a built-in feature, right? Like it comes with the car. All you have to do is basically require some sort of a memory stick of some sorts or small hard drive,
which they would probably need.
And that's it.
Yeah,
and you've got a full system.
Yeah, they probably need that with the other solution anyway. And then knowing how government supply goes, it's probably going to be a specialized memory card that's in a case that you can't, just so it costs an extra, $100 per memory card. And so now you've just got USB sticks you're sticking in the car. So you go down to the office supply store and pick them up.
Exactly. Let me ask the two of you, do you guys use any, what do you guys use as a solution yourselves? I use an actual little, I guess, an SD card plug-in with what do they call it? A pro memory card. So that protects it against adverse weather conditions. If you've got some humidity in the air and such, the memory card is always going to work. And I am happy to say, knock on wood, that it's been perfect for me since I installed that. What do you guys use?
So I use an aftermarket dash cam. I've been through one memory card so far. And then I also use the Tesla SentryMode and Tesla Cam with a USB 3.0 device. Sometimes I use a Raspberry Pi 4 because it uploads the files right when I get near my Wi-Fi. Other times it's just exactly. It is. And then if you're one of the people who has a music collection still, when it syncs up the files, it'll sync down your new music as well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a feature request. I hope Tesla starts including that automatically. That would be awesome.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Basically uploading playlists and sending it to the car when it's connected to Wi-Fi. That's very cool.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So I just used a solid state drive. We got the Jada extension, so it has a little concealed compartment in there, and you get extra USB ports that way. So and then you would have to know that is in there because it just looks like it's a normal part of the car. So if someone breaks into your car and they're smart enough to know they got to get the USB stick so that they aren't recorded, well, with this solution, they're not going to obviously see it. They'll think, oh, they just didn't have one, and then I'll still have the recording.
That's really good.
Is that in the Model 3 or in the Model X?
That's in the 3. So for the X, I got that in 2016. It's Autopilot 1. So I have an aftermarket Blackview camera in that.
And Patrick, here's an extra bonus that you can use is get yourself like a cheap 2 gigabyte stick that people give away, plug it in partially into the outside exterior, and if someone does break in, they'll grab that thinking they've got the evidence.
There you go. I've got plenty of free flash drives.
We've all got those 2 gigabyte sticks just sitting in our drawers everywhere. May as well put it to good use.
Yeah, it's the honeypot. Awesome. That's a good idea.
It is.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, the Connecticut department saves a few bucks and continues to the car continues to amaze them. They're quite happy with it.
I'm wondering why they don't just use a web app, because the browser works while you're driving, and then you don't need Tesla to work with you because it's running Chrome. Done. I've solved your problem, Connecticut Police Department.
The bill's in the mail, Connecticut. Just make sure you pay it.
Yeah, but seriously, as long as you secure your front end correctly, you're done.
Right, but that requires connectivity, right? So what if?
But you've got it. If it's premium connectivity, you've got it.
Yeah, you might be. There might be places they go where they don't have good.
I'll give you that. Then they can use a Wi-Fi hotspot that's on the radio network that they already have.
There you go.
Done again.
Casey, you should sub out and get some of those consulting dollars for that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so.
MrSolutions.com.
There you go. There you go. Well, I've got an interesting photo to share. Someone has modified their Model 3.
I'm a little hungry now.
So obviously this is in Europe. You can tell from the license plate. But does anyone want fries and gravy with that? I guess you can deck your car out whatever you like, and certainly we love diversity. And we've said it before in this show, but man, that this has got to be a company. I don't have the backstory on the car, but got to be connected to some sort of company or promotion with the company. Although I do notice they do have an aftermarket front spoiler on this car as well. Yeah. So, but I saw that and I said, I got to share this with everybody. That's great. I've never seen. That's the most wild decal I've ever seen on a Tesla for sure.
You can tell you're Canadian though when you went for the gravy.
But I didn't add the cheese curds, so it's not quite poutine, okay. Right?
Yes, poutine, yes.
Oh man, good stuff.
Yeah, I kept looking for a company logo or something on there, but nope.
Nothing there.
With them some fries.
Something hidden in that particular aspect. But if anyone out there knows about it, send us a note in the YouTube feed, or send a note to us on Twitter at The Tesla Life, or our Facebook feed, The Tesla Life #1. And if you haven't subscribed already to the YouTube channel, it's free. What are you waiting for? Please click that button, give us a subscription. That gives us a number, gets us in front of more people's eyes. And also, at this point, please give us a thumbs up. That helps as well, and that would be greatly appreciated if you could do so. Next story, Patrick Scott. We're going to talk a little bit about the Supercharger network and some experiences.
Yeah, so Mark and I were chatting before the show a little bit, and he said, "Hey, you should talk about this on the show." And so I've been driving electric since 2007. And so I've gone through various stages of this evolution over the last 12, 13 years. And in the beginning, I had a Chevy S10 electric truck. And the charger was this induction charger that was probably, 65 pounds. I had it on a little hand truck and carried it around with me whenever I needed to charge. It was guerrilla charging. I was finding camper outlets, using my friend's dryer outlets. I had all kinds of different extensions. It's amazing how many. Right? It's amazing how many different 240 volts types of plugs there are out there.
Especially when you're looking for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And there were marina plugs and dryer plugs before 94 and after, and then another version of it. And so I had a bag full of adapters. So anyway, that was guerrilla charging. And that
was the mobile, right? That wasn't the home charger. The 85 pounds.
That was the mobile version, right? Yeah. So people who carry this little brick around today, imagine carrying something that's 6 bowling balls instead. Yeah, it was very much more difficult back then in 2007. So next phase was with the Leaf. I bought a Leaf in 2011. And that's when the West Coast Electric Highway was being deployed. and there were level 2 chargers being installed in a lot of places around here in Oregon. So it was a fun adventure. And that time, a lot of them were free because they were new. And so going around finding these things, it was really fun, except they didn't always work. Being new, there would often just be one of them. They would be blocked. They would be broken. The early CHAdeMO handles broke frequently, especially in the Blink network. They seem to have a lot of reliability problems. Yeah, and we had a Blink representative come to one of our meetings, and we just read in the riot act. And
oh man,
yeah, they were talking about how there were a lot of problems they didn't expect. Here in Oregon, we get a lot of rain, and that was causing problems with some of the screens and the card readers. And other times, the screen would be directly in the sun, and that would cause problems. And anyway, then the next phase was getting the Tesla, and that was just so much easier with the Supercharger network. One of the big problems with the CHAdeMO stations is there was often only one, and it would be broken or blocked or in use. And then what do you do? So with the Tesla Superchargers, there were always at least 4, and sometimes 6, 8, 12. So it was a whole lot easier. And I've driven down to San Diego and back twice for Comic-Con, and I'm going to do that again this summer. One of the bad spots is Mount Shasta. They only have 4 Superchargers, but now I just looked on the map, and now they've got 16. So it's a whole lot better. And that one's really a key spot, because after coming out of Grants Pass and going up the mountain, you need to stop and charge there. And so you couldn't just skip that one. And now it's got a lot more. So that'll be even easier this year. And so you see this whole evolution of the charging network. But right now, Tesla's really still the only one that has a robust charging network. In fact, I mentioned at the top of the show that I went skiing this weekend. Well, when we were going by Ski Bowl, I decided, hey, let's pull in here and charge and grab some breakfast. But the 2 spots they had, one was a Leaf was there, and the other one had an Audi that wasn't even an electric car. So it was iced. So they only had 2 spots, one level 2, one CHAdeMO, and they were both blocked. And the parking lot was jammed full, so it makes sense that someone parked there because they had nowhere else to. And I did not think that Leaf was going to be back anytime soon. I was guessing they were up on the mountain skiing, and they were going to be there all day. So we instead just went skiing, and we came back on the way back, and then they were gone. And so I was able to charge while we ate dinner instead. But it just reminded me of the whole, oh yeah, this CHAdeMO network's not as reliable as the Tesla Supercharger network is. So I really think that we need something that's not, I mean, right now Tesla's, like Casey just said, the only one in the world that's robust and reliable and multiple stations. And right near my house, Portland General Electric at a gas station has they're doing construction now. It looks like there's 4 or 5 that are being installed, and I assume there's CCS, but I haven't. They're not up and running yet. And as soon as they are, I'll swing in and check it out. Tesla needs a CCS adapter
in North America. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. That would be cool. But in all those that are installing now, they have at least one CHAdeMO, and so I'll at least be able to try it and see how it works. I don't know what rate Portland General is going to be charging. So it's a big advantage that Tesla has. I know that Musk doesn't like the term moats, but definitely it is something that Tesla has that no one else has. And if you want it to be your only car or be able to drive long distances with it, Tesla's the really only viable option today. And I don't want that to be the case. I want there to be lots of great options for everybody, but not yet.
So yeah, I would have to agree with that. Is that there's a big difference between the other chargers and the Tesla Supercharger network. In fact, it's such a great divide even today that there are certain places that you just can't go reliably. And in some cases, physically, you just can't go because there is a break in the other charger network that maybe doesn't cover, the Midwestern United States or some other areas that are sparsely pocketed. And having a car like maybe a Chevy Bolt or a Hyundai that, gets pretty good mileage as it sits, you've got to have a dependable network that would allow you to bridge those great distances. I recently went from southern Ontario here all the way to California, and I know, although I might have attempted something like that in, say, a Chevy Bolt, I know my family would not have done it with me. There would have been no way that, maybe I'm up for the adventure since I've had an EV since 2014 and I enjoy the challenge, but there's not a chance the rest of my family would have went with me. It would have been, yeah, we'll fly, we'll meet you there if you ever arrive. So.
Right. If you want to get off the early adopter, hardcore, dedicated fans and be mass popular, it has to be easy.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're not, having to guess as to whether or not a charger is going to be available, working, or just not iced is something that you can't take a chance with if you're traveling across the country. It just, let alone the state, but the country is just a no-go. Like, you've got to be able to have something reliable. And I'm happy to say that that the Tesla network in my trips to Orlando, Fremont, California, Chicago, New York City have all been flawless. Every single one of them has been bang on the money about time, distance, what charge I would arrive with, and number of charges that were available. May have been off one or two when I arrived, but of course people do shuffle around. But I have to say that the entire network that I've experienced has been flawless to this point.
Yeah, they make it so easy. You just put the destination in the car, and it plans a route with charging, tells you where you need to stop, how long you need to stop. And if you are driving fast or something else that's using more energy than they anticipated, it'll tell you, slow down, stay below 65 to make it to your destination. And it'll even show you, like, oh, you're expected to arrive with 3%. So you can decide whether or not you're comfortable with that. And if you're not, drive a little slower, and you'll see that number creep up. And then you're like, oh, okay, now I'm back up to 6 or 7 or 8% or wherever your comfort level is. And it's because it's doing that in real time. It's not like with the Leaf where I had to guess when I was driving. Like, okay, I've got 3 bars left and I've got 15 miles to go. I'll probably make it, whatever the numbers were. And you really have to be able to do that mental math in your head on the fly. And Tesla makes it so much easier. And
you're constantly adding things to it, like, oh, well, it's raining. That's throwing me off a little bit. It's a bit of cold weather. I've got to account for that. And you're constantly doing math onto a normal equation. You're adding these, oh, I'm going uphill slightly. That's another thing. It was amazing. It really was. The early days was, it was challenging. It was fun at the time, but man, you're right. You're not going to get the majority of people switching over to EVs if they have to do that kind of mental gymnastics every time they go for a long ride.
Yeah, I just want to go for a drive. I didn't know math would be involved. Come on.
Exactly.
So how long do you think before some of the non-participants take Elon up on his offer to actually join the network?
I'm surprised that not one has done it yet. Like, somebody I thought would have at this point maybe offered, or maybe they did inquire, and of course it just went nowhere. And of course we didn't get any word about that. But I'm kind of surprised that nobody has said, you know what? Tesla has an architecture. They've got the stations. They've got the layout nicely. They've got 15,000 plus stations today. Why don't we just conform to their type of plug and roll with it? I'm surprised.
Yeah, what is the company that makes that boxy Jeep truck thing? Which one?
Bollinger.
Bollinger. Yeah. So I thought that Bollinger had tweeted to Musk and said, "Hey, we'd like to be Supercharger compatible." I haven't heard if that went anywhere, but I thought that someone had asked.
Yeah, I think they were the only ones who did it publicly, because BMW was rumored to be in talks, and then nothing happened there.
Yeah, it's I'm sure it's not cheap. Like
probably not.
It's something that obviously Tesla's going to want them to participate in the costs and the maintenance,
Oh,
new
yeah.
builds and such. But I would think that maybe they could come up with some sort of inventive way, maybe over a percentage of use or things of that nature that a new company could pay and not not be thrown into the midst. Well, you got to pay half of everything.
Yeah.
There's got to be
Yeah.
there's got to be some way that they could be more, I guess, allow them into it a lot easier than just saying, you're now paying 50% of everything that we do. So,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Tesla's invested billions in that, so
Yeah.
they would have to get something back. But yeah, it just not an obscene amount. Yeah.
Yeah. Because during the recent interview he did with the third row, he touched on it again that hey, it's still open.
It's still open.
We haven't closed it.
Say that, yeah. So we shall see. We shall see. But it's been light on that type of news to this point. But who knows? Last week we talked a little bit about an event that was going on in Miami called EVs Tea. And the event did happen over the weekend, and thought I'd share a few interesting photos. This, of course, is the Yin and Yang Model X with chrome and black, which was kind of cool looking. Don't know if I'd own one in that particular configuration, but again, a variety, very cool. And there was a great turnout. Apparently, they had 700 people register for the Saturday. And had a whole line of Teslas and also other EVs. There was Audi e-trons and Jaguar I-Pace was there, as well as some others. And again, wraps are a big thing in the Southeast. And of course, it doesn't hurt that one of the sponsors of this particular show was a wrap specialist. So they had a number of vehicles on site to have people drooling over. And this Model X, I thought, was just incredibly different. It's got that pastel Miami Vice look from 1990. But again, very cool. I thought that I really like the rims on this done in white, and makes the thing really stand out. I think even the piping is in white.
Yeah, the chrome is whited out.
Yeah, instead of a blacked out, it's a whited out.
Wow.
So
Don Johnson was there, huh?
Yeah, Don was at the event. So that was kind of cool to see. Very interesting, different vehicles. Hasn't been said it's going to happen next year, although this, I believe, is the third year. So if you're in Miami in February, look forward to this again, most likely. It hasn't been official, but I would say that with the attendance they got, it probably will hit again next year in 2021. So very good. Here's an interesting point, and I'll have you guys comment on this as well. But there was a video put up about a Autopilot test run that basically went about 45 minutes without interaction, as the driver puts, to the wheel. He took it on a loop around, I guess, his local area, and it was on regular surface streets to start. And then he did make a gesture to turn that he turned onto the actual highway with a right-hand turn, and then took the highway for a while and exited from the highway, came off, and that was basically when he had to interact because there was nobody in front of him, and of course the vehicle would have ran a stop sign. So I think that's about where the test stopped. But the car was navigating on, I guess that would be Autopilot Navigate. And then when he was on the surface streets, it was just running on Autopilot. Is that correct, guys? I don't have Autopilot myself. My vehicle, I didn't get it with the car. But with you two, you've both got that option. How have your testing gone along? Have you seen this type of distance yourselves, and a switch from surface streets to highway freeways?
Let me just tell you, I got off an hour of not having to interact with the Autopilot.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
In the rain in DC traffic. So, yeah, it does a lot nicer at getting on a really short on or getting onto the highway from a really short on ramp with a logjam than I do. I don't know how it does it. Like they make room. When it's me, they like bunch up, and when the car is doing it, they don't.
Do they know that,
Huh.
Casey? Somehow?
I don't know. It looks different to me, and it's incredible.
Have you played much with the exiting off of a highway?
All the time.
With keeping it running on the surface streets?
Oh yeah, I'll turn it on the surface streets.
Okay.
Even though it's not an advertised use case, it works.
Right.
You gotta watch it harder though.
Of course, you've got to be watching, but that's the case with it at any point. This is not a fully autonomous system. It's something that the driver is in charge of, and it continues to be an assist as opposed to a full self-driving. But this particular video that was posted with a story from Teslarati, they indicated about how close it actually is to full self-driving. Because of the different attributes of the car and how it was performing. And as Casey mentioned, with the merge, especially from the ramp onto the highway and then off again, he was very impressed with how it was reacting in his particular area.
Yeah, and
that's how it's going to go. It's going to be a lot of small improvements. And for people who are driving it all the time, okay, it'll be like boiling the frog. You won't even notice necessarily until one day, wow, this is just fully capable. I didn't have to do much at all.
Tell you what, you notice it when either it's out on vacation or whatever, or it's just not working for some reason, and if you're in somebody else's car, it really sucks. Even just the ability for it to pace the car in front of you on regular cruise control. But mine is got the new computer, the full self-driving update. Was this guy's the same, or was it 2.5?
This was a 3.0. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
But
yeah,
so
we haven't
far,
got that upgrade yet.
You haven't? Okay.
No.
All right. Well, what I'm noticing so far in my day-to-day, up until this last update, it was just doing the same as the old computer, but faster. Now it actually feels like it's making different choices.
And you're experiencing this because you're driving the same route to work or back again, and you're finding that it is making subtle differences as time goes along, or did you find that one day it made a whole bunch of different decisions?
Right.
Okay.
So it was doing the same stuff but faster until this last update, 2020.4.1, and then it's just slight little tweaks, especially in traffic, and. I also noticed it from our road warriorness when we're out there doing all the Tesla events or Supercharger reviews, that sort of thing. We're out there, and it's a long drive to do it by myself. So. Yep,
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, on to another story. This one from the seas. We had a gentleman, a fisherman, that was off the would have been the east coast of Florida. He was out actually coming back from a fishing trip with some other people on the vessel. He was looking out over the side and noticed a white object kind of bobbing in the water a little bit away from the vehicle, or I'm sorry, as the boat went by it. He convinced his friends to turn around and go back because he thought he saw some sort of emblem on the bobbing white thing in the water. And it turns out he had quite a catch that day because he managed to grab a Dragon capsule door that was floating in the water. And also, I believe some of the parachutes are behind him in the picture as well. So this was the door to the parachute, ejection area where the parachutes pop out. And the door gets jettisoned before the parachutes come out, or just as they come out, and lands in the water. And apparently it floats because he was able to see it bobbing. So quite a souvenir he can put up on his wall if it's not up on eBay already and available for sale.
So this would be the parachutes that pull out the main parachutes then.
Yeah, because he was talking about it was difficult to get the door out of the water because it was still attached somehow, and of course the parachutes underwater were very very difficult to move to get this out of the water. So
That'd be a little
yeah,
heavy.
yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
You can imagine them being soaked with water and trying to pull on it. It would be like trying to pull something out of concrete, I imagine.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, if that one's not on eBay, there's probably 20 clones of it that are.
Now that people know what it looks like, right, Patrick?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh man.
That's cool.
You gotta get one work to go with all your hubcaps back there. You need a dragon door.
You'd need a whole nother wall though, based on the size of that thing. Man.
So I'm just going to start sharing and end it. I'm just having some sharing difficulties here tonight. That stops the sharing there.
Well with others.
Yeah, it's not fit well with others. Exactly. Exactly. What do we got next here? Yes. As reported last week, with of course the coronavirus happening in China and affecting the world, for that matter of a fact, Giga Shanghai opened again on schedule on the 10th or 11th of this week, and of course they've got some safeguards in place about people coming in that are sick and not feeling well at work and those things as well. But manufacturing apparently has started again on the Model 3 line as predicted. And of course, the Shanghai government is attempting to help Tesla wherever they can with routing of people, keeping paths open to the Gigafactory itself, transportation to the site, and of course, keeping on top of the information of what's going on with the spread of the virus at this point. So not a big surprise, but of course, they're starting to kick off again. This has been a crazy story, of course, watching it from the outside, watching cases expand, more and more people infected. We're just hoping that it levels out here shortly and puts somewhat of a calming effect to the rest of China and the world for that matter. But it's a running story and continues to be in the news here every day. Next, there was I guess it was a tweet from Elon talking about Tesla Gigafactory recently. And this wasn't the normal Gigafactory that we all talk about quite often. This was the one in New York. And Casey, were you going to share that with us?
Yeah, so Giga New York is making the solar glass roof, and they're pumping them out. There have been now reports of, I think, 5 or 10 different installs that were not employees, which is incredible. Elon tweeted and then deleted something about the name being confusing, solar glass. I was hoping that he would go back to solar roofs, but he deleted the tweet, so I didn't see what it said. But the deployments, they had a 54 megawatt deployment, 26% jump over the previous quarter, 43 megawatts. That's incredible.
That's substantial, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and the prices have dropped, and like they even came out with a new size of installation. So you have the small, the medium, and the large, and now they have extra large. And
very cool.
You can, depending on your state, you can rent them, and if you rent them, they come with removal included. So you don't have to pay extra to get them off your roof, so you can sell your house or whatever if. A lot of people don't like to take over a lease on a solar system. And so this just gives you more options in addition to financing, paying up front, working with whatever credits exist in your state. It's pretty cool stuff. And it's very exciting. This is also the factory that's making the V3 Superchargers.
That's right. They have a line of that there as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roseburg, Oregon is scheduled to get some V3s this year, and I can't wait. I hope they do it before July when I'm driving through there.
There you go. And then Vienna is under construction right now, Vienna, Virginia. Theirs is going to be the first ground-up gas-free gas station. So fueling station with no gas.
That's cool.
Definitely is going to be a V3 supercharger, and there might be Electrify America there. That's up in the air from what I'm understanding now.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Where's
The other thing that was interesting. Sorry, go ahead, Patrick.
I said, where's the 50s diner that Musk promised us?
Yes!
I can't wait. Yeah.
The drive-up.
Yeah, I prompted someone that lives in Santa Monica just, I guess it was about a month and a half ago, 6 weeks or so, and they had indicated that there's been no work on that designated site as of yet. So it's still an empty lot. So, well, what was also interesting in Casey's story here is that Musk had indicated that the Giga factory in New York, or in Buffalo, is where it actually is going to host the April meeting for Tesla. They're going to have the meeting at that Giga factory. And on top of that, they're going to start offering tours to media and to the public. Or I'm sorry, owners.
Investors,
not public. Yeah. And there's going to be some tours that are going to start up at Giga Factory Buffalo as well.
And then he dodged when people tried to pin him down on what they were showing off on the day that they were having the open house. They were asking, is that battery day? Is it going to be a follow up on the AI day? Which day is it? And they just left it at that it was.
He just left it hanging.
Yeah. It sounds like it's going to be its own event. April's going to be very busy.
Yep, yes. Absolutely. Next, Patrick's got a story for us about some, I guess, salvage car news.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So if you guys have watched Rich Rebuilds, he's out there salvaging Teslas. He's got Dolores and some others that he's got working again, brought back from the dead, and that's awesome. One of the things when he's done with it, there's always this question of, will it supercharge? It's always one of his more interesting videos at the end there, where he goes to the Supercharger station, and if it turns green, how exciting it is. And Tesla hasn't really had any clear position on whether or not these salvaged rebuilt vehicles should be able to work. They have a high voltage certification plan that you can get your car checked through, but it's expensive. And so now they have clarified things, and if you're in the salvage community, it's not good news. The official stance is that the salvaged vehicles will not be able to supercharge. Not only that, they're disabling the ability to do any DC fast charging at all. So even if you wanted to go to Chatamo Station, you will be out of luck if you are using their software in your salvage vehicle. So I can see both sides of this. I fully support the right to repair. If you own something and it's yours, you should be able to do what you want with it. And the other side is Tesla's point of, well, this is our supercharger network, and these vehicles, if they aren't put back together properly, could catch fire. That'd be bad for our reputation, and the press would jump on any Tesla fire and may gloss over the detail that it was salvaged or not. So it's an interesting. I don't know what do you guys think?
I think that that this is a change for the worse, because after you pay all the money for the certification, they still won't unlock your supercharging, and it only goes by the title structure. So if the example I've seen used recently was, if you run into a tree and fix it yourself and don't get the insurance involved and the airbags don't go off, they have no way of knowing. And so that car can supercharge. But if you get a jealous ex situation who keys the crap out of your car, and now you've done $50,000 of paint damage, so the insurance company just writes it off, that car has had no battery damage, no potential battery damage, and now it'll never charge again. It's insane.
Yeah. I believe that Tesla should invoke some sort of a more affordable test that they could perform on the vehicle.
Or if you pay for the test, you should unlock it again.
If it passes the test, then it should be good to go. Like
Yeah.
it shouldn't be a crazy price. It should be something reasonable,
Yeah.
and I'm sure they could do that to plug the car in to do a rudimentary battery check to understand if there's any damage or anything's an anomaly that shouldn't be happening in the battery pack. They should be able to do that, and of course give that battery another chance at life if it's fine. I think that's something that they should be doing. But I do fully understand if the battery was damaged, they don't want it at a supercharger. They don't want that liability. I get that, but putting that a reasonable test in place, I think would mitigate and make both sides happy.
I think Paul's going to tell us.
That seems like a reasonable compromise, definitely.
Oh yeah. I think Paul's going to tell us, "I told you so."
he might, and Paul, of course, is Paul Guzek from the What Drives Us show, which is in about an hour if you want to join us for that as well. But
so I feel that Tesla is being too disposable with their cars that have already been sold once. The mission is to reduce emissions and reduce waste and all of that, and yet they're just, once the car's left the factory and been sold, they're done with it. That's not 100% true, but that's the feeling I get as an owner way too many times over the years.
Right, and they haven't let legal liability scare them off of their Autopilot scheme or their methods that they're doing there. There's many other times, allowing the web browser to be used while the car is in drive and other things. So it seems like it's not in their nature to take this conservative route.
And then I get the feeling that it's because they want to sell us new cars, which is at odds with the mission. If the car is still good, CPO it, but they don't do CPOs anymore. Let Paul and let Red Tree Builds fix the car and have a program to certify it. Reduce and reuse are the first two R's before you recycle the thing.
Yeah, yes. Absolutely. So maybe Elon will learn of this type of thing and look into this a little bit more. But I think there could be a middle ground here if Tesla wanted to do it.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, the cars that are still on the road that haven't been wrecked, they support you all the way through and through. But once it's been sold, like if you're the second owner, it's not the same as it used to be. Like they treated me like a king when I bought my first Tesla used. And now even on the brand new Tesla, sometimes they act like I'm trying to steal something from them. It's true. It's totally true. And like we said, the bring the certification program back, bring a way to make sure that these things are actually safe and just treat them like regular customers because they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
And guess what? That guy that gets a wrecked Tesla and gets it certified that it's fine to run, guess what his next new car is? Probably going to be another Tesla. Yeah. So you're just helping your future customers. I don't see any change in that. We had that story last week about how people once in the EV market, they don't leave. They're getting another EV for their next car. So you can think about future clients here as well.
Yeah, just charge the right price for it. If it's labor intensive, charge extra for it. We understand. You got to pay to get.
Yeah.
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 The EV bug is more infectious than the coronavirus.
Yes, it
is. Let's tie our two stories together there.
Next quick story is about Tesla and Fremont have put together apparently a pilot battery cell assembly line. So we've talked about this in the past about how Tesla has been hiring some engineers for battery cell makeup. They've also hired others in, I believe it was Denver, which was interesting. And some engineers were hired for that. Well, apparently they've put together an assembly line in part of Fremont, and they're playing around with the assembly of the cells at Fremont. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. If it's something that obviously they're getting closer or feel that they want to scale it at this point to see what kind of stresses it would put on their system, to see how these cell assemblies would work. And again, Tesla's very vertically integrated. They've done this with the seats. They've done it with other parts that they were having difficulty getting. And this is another, of course, large piece of their puzzle is the actual battery, which currently is done with their partner Panasonic. And now it's actually even opened up to others in China, where LG and CATL have also joined those ranks. But it looks like they're pushing forward and developing their own.
Yep. They used to, well, they still do probably have a module assembly in the Fremont plant, but the cells is new, and I'm wondering if this is for production or if it's for testing, or if it's for testing in production before they send them over to all the various gigafactories. I mean,
Well,
Fremont is giga sized.
They do mention pilot, so it's obviously it's not they may use the cells for something, but I think it's more of a at this point they're testing.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if it's Tesla style, like every week they come up with, here's the formula for the week, and they test it out, and then they all right, let's ship this one out. All right, this is the formula for the third quarter. All right, let's set it out.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So we shall see as that story develops and has been developing over time. Our last story of the week is just a photograph I wanted to share with you guys. We caught this late in the week, and if you have a little bit too much snow in your area and are concerned about getting around in your Model 3, well, there is a solution available to you. You can get these track tires added to your rear-wheel drive car and truck through the snow without any issue at all.
You might not get the EPA recommended arranged, but looks like it would work.
Yeah, definitely the EPA range is off the table with these tires, I'm sure. But very interesting. This gentleman was actually taking the car out on snowmobile trails. So he was completely off-road, driving up and down hills. Said he had no problems with it. Interesting that they were, this they've added this to many other cars. It was just kind of cool to see it bolted right on to the Tesla's back end here without any issue, apparently. So just jack it up, remove the tires, and slap on a tank tread on each side, and you're in business.
For my Cybertruck, I want the snowshoe version of this, where you drive up the short ramps onto them, and you pull the ramps off, and then the car wears them like shoes, and then
there you go.
You go and you take it off, and then you don't have to bolt them anywhere. But the bolting is still pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know if I would ever do that to my car, but I would sure rent one. Yeah, that would be fun.
Available on Turo now. Oh man, very cool, very cool.
Stop and torque all the bolts every 50 miles.
Exactly. Well, that's a wrap for this week's show. Let's any shout-outs, Mr. Green?
Yeah, I just spent a weekend trying out version 3 Superchargers for you. So go check it out at youtube.com/KCGreen. That's KACEYGREEN. That's youtube.com/KCGreen. And it's one of the latest videos. It's in Lynchburg, Virginia. It's the first V3 supercharger, not the very first, but it's one of the first V3 superchargers on the East Coast. There were about 10 or 20 that all opened at once now. And it's been quite exciting.
Cool.
Excellent.
I want to ask you what your highest charge rate was, but I'll just tease that for the video. They'll have to watch to find out.
Yes. So the car didn't know that this station was there, so it didn't pre-condition itself for that, and I let the battery get into the yellow, so you can't turn on the Ludicrous Plus heater once it goes into the yellow.
Nice.
But it was still very impressive.
Cool.
Excellent. Mr. Connor, any shout-outs today?
Sure. I am with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org. Thanks.
Very good. Very good. If you haven't already, please give us a subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and ring the bell if you'd like to get notifications of when the next YouTube video goes live. You can also find us online at our Twitter feed at The Tesla Life and on Facebook, The Tesla Life #1. I'd like to give a special shout out to Mr. Lee Moon, who provides our music that we use at the beginning and end of shows. And I would like to invite everyone out there to join us again next week. And at that time, find out what is going on in the Tesla life. And the music is not. There we go. There we go. All right, everyone. Have yourselves a good week. We will see you later.